On today's episode of the Gamer Girl podcast, Beth and Maddie discuss their top 10 Splatfests from Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2. Hello everybody, I am your host Beth, joined by my fabulous co-host Maddie, and today we're talking Splatoon news, Splatfests, all the fun Splatoon related stuff today. As well as
basically Splatoon.
Yeah, well, that's all that's going on right now, so.
Just Splatoon.
Just Splatoon.
And another game called Harvestella that we don't really care about, so.
Sorry, Harvestella fans. I think there's probably few of you. I probably just insulted people, but,
They're all listening.
They're all listening.
Specifically to this episode, just to rage.
Yes. But, so, we're gonna start today off with an icebreaker. So, I have an icebreaker for us today. To give you some context, I just baked, some cupcakes just a couple days ago. Not for no apparent reason, it was my sister's birthday. You know how it is. I made cupcakes. I was like, I'm gonna be fancy. Cupcakes turned out really well. Got multiple compliments that they tasted professional. So,
you showed me the picture. They looked really good.
Oh, they were. If I could send you one virtually, I would. But
you did a good job with the frosting swirl, too.
Yeah, I used all the frosting on the first one.
Oh.
I put too much frosting on the first one, and then it was just this one that looked really good, and then all the others were kind of but...
Well, the mountain of frosting's so high, you try to take a bite out of it, but it's just too tall. You're like, ugh.
Just frosting. Nothing but frosting. So, now, how about I ask the actual question? What is your favorite thing to bake?
Oh. I really like making pumpkin bread, actually.
Breads are fun to make.
Yeah. So there's a recipe that I've been using now for the past probably 3 years. Every holiday season, I make pumpkin bread, and it's just really good. I mean, what can go wrong? It's always going to be good.
I mean, that's debatable. That's highly debatable when you're talking to me, because our fans might not know this, but I do strongly dislike pumpkin with a passion.
Wait, what?
I strongly dislike the flavor of pumpkin.
So you wouldn't like it?
You don't like it. I don't know. I just really don't like pumpkin is the thing. It's just it's mainly a texture thing, but still, just the flavor, I just don't like it.
Oh. Well, I've had cooked pumpkin once in my life.
I
think it's okay. It's kind of like a squash. It's okay.
Well, it is a squash. It's a gourd. It's a gourd, which is a squash. Pumpkins are both gourds. So I would think it would taste like a squash. Yeah,
like the texture thing, but it's a little bit sweeter if I remember right. Speaking of pumpkins, have you ever had pumpkin seeds?
Oh, I do love pepitas. Yes.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good. One of my favorite trail mixes is the Omega-3 trail mix, which has pepitas in it, and it's the only trail mix I have found that has everything in it is stuff I enjoy to eat.
Do you not like the nuts or
I don't care for M&Ms too much, and the majority of majority of trail mix has M&Ms. I'm kind of getting back into M&Ms. M&Ms. It's kind of like sometimes I'll like them for 5 years and then I'll dislike them for 10, and I go back and forth between liking and disliking them.
So if that wasn't bad enough, I guess I've got to expose your dark secret to the listeners.
What is
has your opinion on Reese's changed?
No. Peanut butter and chocolate should never be put together.
What do we even do with what do we even do about Beth? I don't even know. Like what her taste buds have mutated in the horribly wrong direction.
I mean, I'm getting into spicy food, so that's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, that pumpkin bread was the first thing I thought of because that's usually something I look forward to making. But yeah, I just really like baking in general. I wouldn't say I'm amazing at it, but I mean, it's easier than cooking because you just mix things in a bowl and then hope for the best in the oven. So,
Yeah. One of my favorite things to bake is macarons. Because they're so hard. I've only made them once. They actually turned out fairly well, especially for a first time. But macarons, it's so hard to get them perfect because you have to make sure they don't cook too long and they don't cook too little. You have to make sure the moisture level is just right. And there's so many factors you have to take into account. And especially in Florida, it's kind of hard because it's so humid, and that can make them not turn out very well. Whereas in France, where they originate from, it's a lot easier to make them because the humidity level isn't that high and the conditions are right. Altitude is also a factor.
interesting. I hadn't thought about that. I'm impressed that you've even made them at all because I would not be brave enough to those are really fragile,
Yes,
but they're
they are.
so good when they're done really well.
You don't know true
I know
delicious
you've
macarons
had
unless you've had them in
legit.
France.
You've literally had them.
I've had the original recipe. I have had the premier ones in France, in Paris, France. And all these people are like, oh, these ones I found in Orlando are so good. Oh, these ones I've had in some Atlanta are so good. I'm like, you have not had true macarons. Which actually, the place that I had them at in Paris, they actually have a store now in New York. So if you want to have true French macarons, go to New York, I guess.
Oh.
I mean, who wants to go to New York, right?
There's a Nintendo store too while you're there.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. You know, get your Splatoon 3 OLED while you're up there, I guess.
Well, if I think the lame American ones are amazing, I can only imagine how good the ones from France are.
Yes. They do not compare. There is no comparison to be had. That's how much better they are.
Okay. Well, with that, I do not have a way to transition into my question. That is, in the spirit of the rest of the episode, a Splatoon question. Although this one might put you in a trap with the listeners, what you answer, because there's potentially only one correct answer at this point, but I want to know your honest answer. Who is your favorite Splatoon character?
Like, ever? Or Splatoon 3?
Of all of the games, anything.
it's either Callie or Marina. So here's the thing, Callie. One thing that I thought was so cool when I got Splatoon was I still have my cat, but I have a cat named Callie.
Yeah.
She's a calico. How original. Calico named Callie. That's like 95% of the population of calico.
Yeah.
But anyway, when I started playing Splatoon, and one of the characters' names was Callie, I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. There's a Callie that's not a calico cat.
So now you have a nerdy answer for when people are like, you can just pretend that your cat's named after the Splatoon
Well,
character.
that's the other thing. I can say she's named after a Splatoon character rather than a Disney Channel show. Disney Junior show, yeah. Way better.
Yeah.
And then Marina, I really like I like her overall character design, the fact that she's the first Octoling, and also her backstory. Honestly, all four of, Off the Hook and the Squid Sisters have pretty cool backstory. But Marina, she was an engineer in the Octarian army, and then she heard the Calamari incantation and the brainwashing was broken. Because DJ Octavio's music brainwashes them. Which is why they wear goggles all the time too. And like shades is because the shades like hypnotize and control them. And then also the music plays in. Which is why you fight Octolings all the time, is really they're just brainwashed, which kind of makes you be like, oh. But anyways, but Callie, the fact that she was the villain of Splatoon 2, I probably should have said spoiler alert. I feel like if you're listening to this, you expect there to be spoilers anyway, but anyways, so
Game's old news, it's fine.
Which, actually, I'm going to talk more on that later once we get into the topic, the Gamer Girl topic of today. I've actually named that section. It's the Gamer Girl topic.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
It sounds professional.
It does sound professional.
Because this show is so incredibly professional.
Very professional, which is why you listen to this show, because it's so professionally done.
I feel like I need to clarify. Beth made a comment in the Nintendo Pals stream yesterday that I am her employee, and I need to set this straight that you are not my boss. Okay.
We're co-CEOs. We're the only employees, and we're technically not getting paid for this, sadly, because we don't have any sponsors. Which, sponsors, come sponsor us. We'd love it. I just wanted to bring that up. I could not stop laughing. I'm not offended. I just thought it was so funny. Also, the baking question was also actually brought up in yesterday's Nintendo Palace stream, where Mute Dog asked me what my favorite thing to make was because we're doing Kirby's Dream Buffet. And I was what? Well, that was before you joined, and then when you joined, everything got chaotic.
What are you implying?
It wasn't just you. There were also people being annoying, and yeah. But anyways,
I did not put any of the bad answers in that Jackbox game. I did not.
Yeah, that Jackbox game got interesting with people.
Well, that transitions into what you playing.
Yes. What have you been playing, Maddie?
Okay. So, I haven't had a lot of time for gaming, but it's been 2 weeks, so I've gotten some things in. So the first thing, shout out to the Off the Wall podcast. I was a guest on their most recent episode. That came out yesterday, so you can go check that out. And in that one, I
As of
talked a little.
recording this yesterday.
Oh yeah, I didn't even. Yeah, last week. I don't know. It's whatever. I talked about last week. So after hearing about Andros from Nintendo Pals doing the Iron Bros challenge, I was like, what if I tried that? And I got like 2 levels in on normal. I was like, yeah, no. And then I was like, well, what about I try easy mode? And I got 10 levels in, and then I died on an Auto Mario level that I moved at the beginning, and then I was just done for. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this. I tried for a few minutes.
Yeah, with those levels, the troll levels especially, I know can just completely destroy your run.
Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, it's really frustrating. There's a reason apparently only like one person in the world has done it. I should probably clarify. This is Mario Maker 2 trying to get 50 levels in a row on Endless Challenge in normal mode is what the Iron Bros challenge is, just to clarify that. So besides that, I've still been playing through Triangle Strategy, and shout out to Mute Dog. He was looking for some brave volunteers to play Inkling only Smash Bros a few days ago. And I guess two of the people that played with us are quite good at Smash and like to play the non-casual way. Which I am a very casual Smash player, so I was a little scared. I did not expect to win at all. And I won one time and I was proud of that.
Nice.
I will say when you play it, so for Inklings, it gets very hard to tell who you are when people are shooting their ink all over each other. It was like, I don't know where I am right now. What is happening? So
yeah,
that was Smash, and that's it. I'm looking forward to the Splatfest tomorrow.
yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm gonna put a date on this. If you're listening to this, when you're listening to this, it already happened. And Team Rock won. Team Paper or Rock won, and Scissors got annihilated.
Wait, why are you against Scissors now?
Because it's the most popular choice.
Oh. So you changed your paper now, right? Or was that a joke?
I'm Rock. So I have 2 profiles that have online. So for my main profile, I'm Team Rock, but on my other profile, I'm Team Paper. Because I wanted you to feel good. Know that you have me, the expert Splatoon player that I am, on your team.
Right. Well, since I'm on so I chose Team Paper for the benefit of Team Paper because there's just not enough of them. So, but with me there, it will just bring the level up like so high that it kind of compensates for it. So, the other 2, you're going down. I'm sorry, big man. I love you, but I had to be there for Paper.
Got to be there for Fry.
Even though I don't even like Fry, but it's fine.
So we don't have. Next would be our questions and review segment, but we lost our streak, sadly, and we don't have any questions. So, next
Well,
is
that's because we asked them to submit later for the topic that
for
we're,
the topic.
I guess.
Yeah. And I even was like, hey, any last minute questions? Granted, it was like 30 minutes before recording, an hour before recording, but it's fine. People contributed, so. But,
contribute more!
Yeah,
We are
contribute
creative.
more! Join the Discord!
We need your ideas because we don't know what to talk about. We're just sitting here doing something.
It's two gamer girls talking about games.
Yes.
Just talking about the fun that is Nintendo.
Yep.
So next is news. Right. So the big thing I was gonna talk about was the Treehouse Presents, which, as of recording this, came out earlier today. Which I went full analyzer mode on this. I was debating on doing like a whole YouTube video for like analyzing everything, but I don't know if I have the editing skills quite yet to be able to do that. I'll figure that out eventually. But
I mean, you could just talk over it playing in the background, I guess. I don't know.
Too. But there's like certain stuff I would want to like highlight and like circle and stuff. But so, Treehouse Presents was the big one I wanted to talk about. So, if it's good with you, I have my notes in order of how they got announced, of how stuff popped out.
It just occurred to me. I watched the video that was the multiplayer showcase, but I didn't watch the single player showcase.
Oh, I didn't watch the multiplayer showcase. I watched the single player showcase.
No way. Let's go.
I didn't realize there was a multiplayer showcase. The only one I saw pop up was the single player.
The only one I saw was the multiplayer. What?
Well, that works out perfectly.
Also, you're the one that actually plays the single player stuff. I was just like, oh, I gotta watch 25 minutes of stuff I don't care about. But then it's like, oh, it's multiplayer stuff. But.
Well. But, so. I'll talk about the single player mode, which is superior, and talk about that. So first, I think the name may have been announced for the region, but it's called Alterna. If you actually go to the menu right now in the Splatoon 3 demo, it calls it the Crater, which at the beginning of the game when you're in like the training mode and they're like showing you the basics and all that, it's like, let's see if you can handle the crater, and I'm like, But like was showed in the initial trailer, we got Callie, who's Agent 1, Marie, who's Agent 2, and Agent 3, who is now the captain. And you're the new Agent 3. So, one thing that I noticed was while they were inking around in single player mode, there was a squid logo that kept popping up on the right side of the screen. And then later in the video, it popped up that there was an upgrade bonus. So I don't know what that's about, if that's partly how you upgrade your weapons in the game, or if it's like upgrades in multiplayer mode. But I thought that was interesting. Next up, you're working for a company called Orca, which is I'm totally blanking on the word. But what it is it's where each letter represents something. I don't know what it represents, but you're working for ORCA, or Orca. That'll probably get explained more later on. but
Yeah.
anything you have to add?
No, I was just looking. No, keep going. I just said yeah, so that looked like I was paying attention.
Oh, what? You're not paying attention? Oh,
No
I'm taken aback.
one cares about the single player stuff.
I'm
Your
the
face.
single player is superior.
It's the ranked is superior.
Single player, you're fighting AI. You can feel a little bit better about yourself.
Yeah, I
Then you
will
can
say
just keep trying.
the levels are well designed and fun, but the multiplayer is where it's at. Whatever, just keep going.
So towards the beginning, it looks like you're playing Octo expansion level similar to the Octo expansion, where you pick a set of gear you want, which you can either pick hero gear, or you can pick to have another gear set for levels. And part of the hero set is you don't get a sub bomb. Instead, your sub weapon is actually Little Bud.
Oh.
The little salmonid that you get, the little tiny cute salmonid. But
Oh.
one thing I'm thinking is like halfway through the story mode, something's gonna happen. The great Zapfish is gonna get stolen for the third time, and then you start getting the mini Zapfish, and then something happens with like DJ Octavio, and then you have to get all the mini Zapfish, and then eventually the great Zapfish. But so at least in the first 3 levels they were playing, that the people at Nintendo Treehouse were playing on, it was just Octo expansion themed levels where you pick a weapon, pay to go through the level, which you pay with salmon eggs, like the little orange salmon eggs. You get desanitized before you go into the level, which I thought was interesting. Huh. Instead of getting launched through a turnstile, you move plastic, like science, laboratory sort of stuff. Then you get sprayed down and like sanitized, and then you get launched into the level. Next is Small Fry damages hairy Octarians. You can also use Small Fry to distract Octarians, like shielded ones. And then you can go and spray them from behind, so it's somewhat better than a bomb, because Little Bud will stay there. Small Fry. I keep mixing, but specials and so one thing I thought was really cool is you do have special weapons in story mode that are not locked behind. In Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 1, they were locked behind. You had to like open a box, get a can, and then you would get a special weapon. But now in story mode, you get a special that goes with your gear set and your weapon. And then you also can get different specials from canned weapons, from cans. One thing they also showed off more was the Splatonus Stamper, which is basically a chainsaw. Thought that looks pretty cool. That's probably gonna be one of the Splatonas I use, because I'm thinking about becoming a Splatona main. Maybe a stringer main too. But next, power eggs, the little fish eggs, the little orange eggs, necessary to progress. Also, hairy Octolings, which I know the Octarians were hairy, but it looks really weird to have the Octolings, like the evil brainwashed Octolings, have hair on their tentacle heads. Because it looks like they're actually human almost, and it's kind of disturbing. And I'm like, They look just like a human. How is that okay? How can something that is an octopus, human sort of thing, look exactly like a human and get hair? I'm like, are humans, is it like, did some human survive the apocalypse that occurs in Splatoon? Is that why there's hair everywhere? That's what the DLC is you're struggling to be a human in a turf war inking society. Guys, I predict a DLC. If that's what happens, you heard it here first.
That's funny.
That's I had to bring up about the single player presentation. So how about Maddie, you take it away and talk about the multi.
First, when you talked about possibly becoming a Splatana main or something, it made me think, what actually is your main weapon right now?
An Octobrush.
Oh, okay.
Which
I was thinking you were a roller main. I don't know.
Well,
No.
I kind of was, but then I kind of got over it. Now I'm a brush main because it's similar to the roller, but you can do more attacking wise with it, in my opinion.
And you did the NZAP for a little while too, right?
Yeah.
Or I did, I don't know.
Splatter shots from time to time too. NZAP I kind of did just to look cool because it was an actual real life Nintendo. I'm like, well, the lore behind that, though, if you really think about it, they uncovered ancient human artifacts and were like, we can use this. We can turn this into a way to ink people.
They didn't use any of the guns, the real guns, but they found an NZAP. They were like, oh yeah, or just like BB guns in general. They were like, nah, but the NZAP, they were like, yeah. Anyway, I love dualies so much, and I don't think anything's gonna change that. But
do you see that they have the Tetra dualies in if you actually go to the equip menu in Splatoon 3, they have the dualies on it. I
haven't turned on the demo yet.
I mean, that makes sense because of what's gonna be happening soon.
Is this a reference to
a YouTube video coming out?
My YouTube video
after this. Yes, our first.
I think everyone that's going to watch that video already knows. So I think I'll just tell people on the podcast that I bought the Splatoon 3 Switch OLED today. It's sitting beautifully in a box right now, and it hasn't been opened. And that's all I'm gonna say as a hint. So there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just pulled the Nintendo Treehouse. I didn't realize there were 3 parts to it. I pulled it up and only saw that there was the single player part.
You're like, forget the multiplayer. But okay,
so there was multiplayer, but...
Well, it's kind of important. It's more important than single player for sure. So, you know, okay, I'll stop. Okay. Okay.
The single player showcase came out today. Like, the actual separate video came out today. But the full showcase came out yesterday.
Like the full Treehouse, but then they split it today.
The live thing came out yesterday.
Yeah.
But... So...
So I haven't
and strategies.
I have a website pulled up that very conveniently organized this for me to talk about, so that I didn't have to do the work myself. So that's great. First, they talked about weapons, stages, and strategies, and they showed a little bit of the locker and the splat tag. So those were little side things. First, they showed off the Splash-O-Matic. And they just talked about it a little bit and how sub-weapons and special weapons work. Basically, just they did some explaining for people that are new to Splatoon. And then they showed a new special weapon called the Crab Tank. So you ride on top of a crab's back and you shoot ink, torrents of ink or large balls of ink that explode, and that it looks pretty cool.
Cool.
And then they show, okay, this is kind of a big deal. The new multiplayer lobby and test range, you can now be in this test range while you're waiting for the match to start. And they said something about how you will see the ghosts of other players while you're in there too. So
Yeah, your friends.
it kind of reminds me of, if I understand this right, it kind of reminds me of Fortnite before the actual match starts, when you're in this area with a bunch of people and you can just kind of like mess around and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool and makes it so that you're not just staring at a screen of names for like a minute while you're waiting. I was hoping they would bring the squid jump game from Splatoon 1 back. But
The
they're not.
nostalgia from that game.
It was so fun. It was just a fun game. Or well, or I guess they could just have it as a side mode at least, so that's somewhere. Anyway. So, talked about that. This is cool. There's a new technique called the squid roll. So,
Yes, they had.
while you're swimming under, if you want to quickly change directions, you can do this squid jump movement. And it's just like a really fluid way to change directions without losing your momentum. And for a small period of time, you're also protected while you're doing that. So that's cool.
Very cool.
So they showed this thing called the copy machine while you're in the test range. It mimics everything you do. Like when you're shooting, it shoots. When you do whatever it does, it copies you at the same time. So that's good thing to practice with. And then similar to the squid roll is anyway, the squid surge. It kind of looks the same, except instead of being on the ground and switching, it's when you're climbing up a wall and then you launch yourself using the squid surge move. And then
they
it
teach
gives
you
you
the
like
surge for the beginning of the demo,
so
like the
so
basics.
have you done that?
I have done the demo, started up the demo, picked my team, done all the but for the walkthrough it did show you how to do the surge, but like the jump
Okay.
surge, but it did not say how to do the squid roll, which is kind of sad. And also,
Oh,
you can't go
that's
into training mode right now
Oh.
to like test out all the hundreds of weapons they've given you to use.
Yeah, you
in
would think they
Splatfests.
would. You would think they'd do it like they did with Mario Strikers, when you could like do all the practice things. But
Right.
I don't know. Something cool, you can sort weapons by class. So it's easier to
It's gonna
it's not a disorganized
be
mess.
nice.
Yeah. Then they showed the carbon roller. Already know about how the carbon roller works, but with it was the Zipcaster, which lets you cast a line towards the wall that you're aiming at, and then you zip there, and you avoid everything. You just go straight there. So that's pretty cool.
Like Spider-Man.
Yeah. And and then they showed the battlefield or stage or whatever, Scorch Gorge. And then they showed the Splat Charger, which is another returning weapon, but with it was the Ink Vac, which is an ink vacuum, basically. And then Eeltail Alley was the other new stage they showed. So Scorch Gorge looked like this sort of abandoned in the middle of nowhere place, and then Eeltail Alley looks like you're in the middle of a city. So very different. And then something else really cool is that now when you start the round and you don't just spawn in the same place, you launch yourself to a place on the field when it starts. And I assume every time you get knocked out. So that's really cool, and that'll make things more interesting, because an issue that I would see happen, like especially in turf war, when the other team was just dominating, is then if you had the whole map covered, then you would just go straight to the team's spawn area and then just keep like destroying them every time they respawn, and then it's kind of like, what are you gonna do? But now if you can move to a different place, then it kind of makes things more interesting. So that was it for gameplay, and then they showed off the lockers. Pretty similar to what we already knew in the direct. You can move your stuff around in there, and then banners, badges, and tiles. You have a nameplate. Pretty standard to how it works in other multiplayer games. And then they showed off the beautiful Splatoon 3 Switch OLED and Pro Controller. They are both beautiful.
Are you going to get the Pro Controller too, so you can have the matching set?
I think so. I feel like I gotta do it.
Might get the
Just
Pro
going
Controller.
all in.
Not the OLED. I'm holding out for a Breath of the Wild 2 OLED.
Yeah, I could see it happening.
Which I've actually, speaking of Breath of the Wild 2, a little bird told me. I heard a rumor circulating that the reason they haven't announced the name for Breath of the Wild 2 is because it would spoil a huge mechanic in the game.
I've heard that too.
And I was like, so is it similar to like the Wind Waker, where the literal thing is you wake the winds and you conduct the winds? Or Link Between Worlds kind of teased that you were going through walls, I guess. Which I don't feel like a lot of games have really teased, like, full-on mechanics. Skyward Sword, to an extent, and I feel like Princess kind of did with the whole Twilight Realm. Minish Cap, now that I'm saying it, I feel like there are a fair amount that teased the mechanic in it, but...
Yeah, here's the thing about those names, though, is yes, they do, and I think they're kind of clever names for that reason. But if you knew absolutely nothing about the game beforehand, if I heard, oh, there's a game coming out called Zelda Wind Waker, and I saw there was no, like, I mean, we've already seen trailers for Breath of the Wild too, but imagine when a game called Wind Waker gets announced, no trailers, nothing. You're like, I have no idea, like, I could speculate, but I wouldn't have any specific ideas. Or, like, same with Minish Cap. I mean, a cap that is minished. I mean, like, like, so I I I don't know, like, what they could name it. That do you think they're gonna keep with Breath of the? Do you think it's gonna be? Do you think that's what's gonna be? Legend of Zelda Breath of something?
I kind of feel like Breath of the Something doesn't really tease a mechanic. I mean, it could be Breath of Time or something like that, and then it's like, oh, we're doing time travel. Like Ocarina of Time, time travel, Majora's Mask, Yuu's Mask. Or, I don't know, Breath of
Have there
Wind,
been
Breath of Underground.
Breath of the Dungeon?
Maybe it's called or maybe it's called The Legend of Zelda Secrets of the Zonai. And it'll tease, like, a huge mechanic with the Zonai. Like the
Is this an
ancient
idea
tribe
you
that
have,
was
or
in Farron.
is this an idea you came up with,
I
or have
just
you
came
actually
up with
read a
this on
rumor?
the spot. But I'm
Oh,
like, wait.
okay.
Well, because the thing is, though, is the Zonai have been heavily teased in the underground parts of the trailer. Like, a lot of the ancient architecture is similar to what the Zonai tribe left in the Farron and somewhat Lake region, but mainly in the Farron region. But, so I'm like, wait, maybe it's like Secrets of the Zonai or Breath of the Zonai, and the problem is that would, like, confirm that it's the Zonai, and they're gonna play a huge part in the new game.
So I wonder if, so I feel like, I mean, so people have been like, people are already getting way ahead of themselves sometimes. They're like, would there be a Breath of the Wild 3 after this? Are you insane? We've been waiting years for Breath of the Wild 2. But I think the trilogy, I think there's already a trilogy, because I think Age of Calamity is the prequel game, and then
Yeah, except it's made a whole timeline split. Like, the Zelda timeline wasn't confusing enough as it is.
I gave up caring about that a long time ago. I don't know. It's so confusing.
Yeah.
Just
But
each
there
game's
has been
just
another trilogy before, so.
being
The entire adult timeline is basically a trilogy. Because they're happen almost directly. No, they do happen directly after one another. Which would be
you're
Wind
talking about
Waker,
the
Phantom
tune.
Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks.
Okay,
They
yeah.
happen, like, technically there's like 100-year gap between Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, but it is confirmed that they happen very close to one another and, like, right after one another.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense that those would be a trilogy. I was like I was thinking of, like, older Zelda games and, like, the 3D ones. I was like, what? Like, but yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, those are all 3D games. Well, I guess technically Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks are 3D.
Yeah,
They're a little
kind
in
of.
between.
Yeah.
So
I say
next
that
is,
having not played them.
I'm playing through both of them right now, which I
Okay.
just realized I never said what
Oh my goodness. Oh no. I'm sorry. I should have caught that. Too busy talking about Smash or something.
Splatoon. Which,
You played Splatoon?
speaking of Splatoon, I've been not playing Splatoon, but looking through the Splatoon demo, exploring the hub. But I've also started playing Link's Awakening again, and trying to defeat that, get another Zelda game under my belt. I started Phantom Hourglass and Switch version, yes.
Okay.
I might eventually go and play the original on my Game & Watch I have, but right now I'm doing the Switch version, which the Game & Watch version compared to the Switch version is so much harder because you only have 2 buttons.
Yeah.
I think I've told you this before, but you
We
only
talked about this on the last episode. It always comes back to Zelda. I don't know why or how, but it does.
Maybe it's because I have an obsession. But so anyways, so been doing Link's Awakening. I've also been doing some Stardew, trying to do that, which I have 5 hearts on the person I'm looking into marrying in Stardew, so that's nice. And it's only the first year of fall. It's only fall of the first year.
Wow.
Which I feel like is fairly good.
Amazing. Now replicated in real life.
I don't think I want to be married to someone within the next year. I don't think the age is quite right.
Okay.
So anyway, how about we get into Harvestella? I have nothing to say on it, other than it looks like it looks like fire. Guessing from the title, I'm guessing it's farm based. It looks very similar to Fire Emblem, in my opinion. I probably just offended you because you're a Fire Emblem fan. I'm sorry.
Let me look. Let me look at it. Well,
I'm looking at it right now.
It reminds me. It reminds me of a different RPG, but I can't really think of what. I'm thinking the art style.
It's not cartoony enough. But...
It's like, I think this game's gonna be kind of like Rune Factory, which I've never played Rune Factory, but
okay.
I think that's kind of what it's. Okay. Let's see. I don't know. I'm just seeing if there's like a quick article that we can just. Okay, here's a quick article that I can just kind of. Okay, so the Treehouse demo showed off a bit of the farming, which has more fantastical tools apparently than normal farming RPGs. I will be honest, I really don't have much experience with these types of games at all. I have heard amazing things about Rune Factory though, so the most recent one, I forget if that's 4 or 5 or something, but so I do want to try that one day. Anyway, there's fishing, crafting, and repairing, and then time is tracked, like it's like Stardew where you have a certain amount of time each day, from what I understand here. And you eat to replenish health and stamina and stuff, so farming stuff kind of sounds like Stardew and every other game like that. And then there's the RPG part of the game where you can like go through dungeons and stuff. So, and then I think they talked about some of the story or something. And then this says they ended with talking about the composer, the music, which games like this usually have really good music. That's one thing. JRPGs, even if I don't play the game, sometimes I'll end up listening to their soundtracks because they're
yeah, same.
often really good. So
Some of the best.
yeah, so especially Square Enix, right? This is a Square Enix game
No
made
idea.
by, I think.
I hadn't
Whatever.
even heard of this game until the beginning of this episode.
It was in the last direct.
I wasn't probably paying attention then. I was more into Breath of the Wild and Pokemon and all that stuff and Splatoon.
I mean like the partner direct. I forget when that was.
I didn't
the
watch
summer
that
or something.
at all. I only watched breakdown videos for that, really. Even then,
I guess we didn't.
Rabbids,
Was that before I became one of the hosts? I really don't remember the timeline of when that direct
I think
happened.
it was before. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
It feels like you've been a host for a while. Granted, this is only like the 4th, 5th episode, I think, you being a co-host. But
I was a guest like 3 times before that, so.
Well, yeah. Once, technically, you were labeled as a guest once right before you became a host.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, the real thing is you were watching the partner showcase, and then this game came out, and you were just like, okay, I can zone out, I don't care about this.
I don't even remember like half the stuff that was shown in that showcase. So
you know, I really don't either.
yeah.
I can't think that far back anymore.
But
so how long have we been going?
Else? We've been going for 57 minutes now, according to our lovely recording bot, Craig. But
okay, so we're gonna get into
how about we get into the gamer girl topic?
Okay.
Insert theme song here.
I was about to say that sounds like we need like a song that we dance to right now. It's the gamer girl topic. Woo!
Well, I was thinking of maybe like a Zelda like dun like wait, you get like a special item like dun dun that ends in dun 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 dun.
Oh yeah, that would be good. That would be good.
So insert some music here real quick.
Dun 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 dun.
Whoa.
I just ruined it, didn't I? I didn't think about that.
I mean,
whoops.
Post editing. I'll put in post editing before you said that, and then we'll end it with dun dun dun.
Sorry, I thought it was a joke. I wasn't actually thinking about post editing.
I work hard on these episodes in post editing.
I work hard talking.
I'll figure out how to eventually I'll be playing music for both of us to listen to while we do that. But
don't we need like a soundboard or something?
Possibly, but another
if
thing
it was
I could
live.
do is use another bot probably.
Oh.
Because we do this on Discord. So
yeah.
Without further ado, today's the gamer girl topic is Splatfests. Maddie did her top 10 Splatoon 1 Splatfests, and I did my top 10 Splatoon 2 Splatfests. We're going to be adding in, of course, I actually have a couple Splatoon 1 Splatfests that stuck out to myself, and Maddie, I'm sure, has some Splatoon 2 Splatfests that stuck out to her that we'll discuss. And then after that, we're going to discuss future Splatoon 3 Splatfests we think would be cool now that we have 3 teams. There are some things that just didn't work with only 2 teams. But now that we have 3 teams, they'll work out perfectly. I mean, there were a couple things they kind of worked out with only having 2 teams. But even then,
Yeah, it's like a blessing and a curse because it's like I can think of like when we were coming up with ideas, it was like I could think of 2 things and then I'm like, and I don't know. It's kind of like the 2 main things and then I feel like a lot of these are going to have the 2 main ones and then a third one that just kind of like no one chooses like in the main game when they do these. But maybe sometimes they'll be super evenly spread out. I don't know.
so how about we go from 10 to 1? You say your 10, then I say mine. Since you have Splatoon 1 and I have Splatoon 2. So, what is your number 10 Splatoon 1 Splatfest?
I just realized I'm using the notes app. I made my top 10, but it got very messed up. It goes in order 15, 14, 12, 11, 9, 8, 6, 4, 3, 1.
Huh? Like that.
I don't know what happened.
I'm using the notes app and it's in perfect order.
Well, I know, but I was like moving things around and I had like my honorable mentions and stuff. It's fine, but it's okay. My
So,
real
number
number
10.
10 from Splatoon 1, messy versus tidy. So, this one is very important
Is
because
this an American?
um let me
Be-
double
Well,
check.
because there were a couple that. Well, Japan gets all the cool Splatfest. Not all the cool ones, but there were a fair amount. I was like, where did Japan get that? But one thing I
Yeah.
noticed about Splatoon 1 especially was a lot of them were like region locked. And you couldn't play. A lot of the Japanese Splatfests were separate and they got their own little things.
Yeah. This one was actually Europe. I
Okay,
looked.
European
This
Splatfest.
I did not. I got Splatoon 1 very late after the game came out, so I didn't play any of the Splatoon 1 Splatfest.
While the Splatfests were still going on, I just didn't have a Nintendo Network ID yet because I was well, technically
Yeah.
my mom didn't want me to be online with people, even though I mean, there definitely are some names that are a little not very family friendly. But
Yeah, I
so
feel
I
like
didn't have a Nintendo Network ID at the time.
for the most part they do a pretty good job monitoring that, but you have to be careful.
Also, some of the
Uh
drawings people will do.
yeah, so messy versus tidy. Um I would
Which
be on
team?
team tidy because being organized is incredibly important. So,
So
do you
here's
agree?
why I'm split because I could kind of care less if something's messy, but at the same time I like things being tidy because I know where things are, but at the same time I usually know where things are if stuff's messy. I have what I like to call an organized mess. Um
I see what you yeah, that's one thing. It's like if I move things around, then my natural reaction will be to go to where the thing used to be before I cleaned it up and put it in a
yeah.
drawer or something. I'm like, "Oh, it's oh." And then it's like,
And
what's
then
the
you
point?
forget you moved it.
So, I understand that, but
I'm
when
team
when I think
tidy.
when I think of
I
messy, I think of laundry all over the floor or your bed or something and just things just everywhere, chaos like after after I played with Legos when I was a kid, like just a disaster on the floor.
yeah. But
So,
again,
yeah.
number 10. My number 10 for Splatoon 2 is time travel versus teleportation.
Hmm.
I would be team time travel because then you could go back in time and see a whole bunch of cool stuff happen. But
Yeah, I think
teleportation
I
would,
have to agree.
but then the thing is I really think that, and I'm like, but teleportation would be so fun, because then you could wake up like 10 minutes, 30 minutes before school starts. And you wouldn't have to get up as early because you wouldn't have to drive to school or work or college. I guess
Imagine
college is
something
technically
called,
school.
imagine online school. Imagine that.
But imagine, well, but what about the social aspect? Imagine we're introverts, so we don't like social aspects of stuff. But the social aspect is kind of like, but Japan, for example, let's say, they just sold out of all the PS5s and the Nintendo Switch OLEDs in America. Well, I can go to Japan. Or there's some special Switches you can only get in Japan.
I like how that's your reason to
So,
go to Japan.
well, that's not the only reason. It's also because someone dear to us might be dear to both of us might be moving to Japan, so it would be nice to be able to just like that, go teleport.
Bam.
Yeah. Or even us. Just teleport to each other's houses. Even though we're
Okay,
miles
but one
apart
of my
now.
thoughts is think about all of the. Imagine if everyone could teleport. Think about all the careers that would just be gone in a second.
Think of all the careers that could happen, like management of teleportation pads.
Oh.
But, the thing is, though, is also I think about is, what if you don't tell the person you're teleporting there, and then you accidentally teleport in on something? Or what happens if you teleport right where they're standing, and then you, like, merge?
Isn't that actually that's actually a thing in Harry Potter? I
think
forget
that
what
might be.
and then it's like you have to be careful because you could like lose your limbs or some like part of your body or it was I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you
It
gotta
was
be careful where you teleport.
yeah. So I think for current life, teleportation would be very convenient, but for knowledge, I mean, teleportation would also be nice for knowledge because then you could go anywhere you wanted and travel the world. But
Yeah.
but I mean, like time traveling, like you could learn so much by
Yeah.
going to the past and the future.
Confirm history.
Yeah.
So next is
So
number 9 for
okay, okay. So mine is love versus money, and I just want to know.
actually in Splatoon 2 I saw as well. That one ended up
Is
getting
it
put in Splatoon 2.
is it on your list?
It's not on my list, no, but when
Okay.
I was looking through them, I was like, I'm pretty sure it was only in Japan for Splatoon 1, but then it was in
Yes.
America for Splatoon 2.
Yes. And because I actually remember the Splatfest in Splatoon 2, and I think I was a good person and went with love, but I just find it hilarious. Like, I want to meet these monsters that are choosing money. Money.
And antisocial introverts.
Well, to be fair, I'm like 70% introvert, so there's like, or
I'm
65% introvert, so.
82%, so.
Yeah. It's okay. Uh, so, uh, would you choose love or money?
Money, although I'm kidding, love. I'd choose love.
I met one of the monsters. She's right here.
I mean, you could use money to find love. Or you could use love to
I don't
find
think that's
money.
genuine love.
Or you could use love to find money. But not love somebody for the money. But
That's
so
even
here's the thing
worse.
though. What if you love somebody, but they're also super rich, but you don't love them because they're super rich? Them being super rich is just a nice bonus to marrying them.
So you're saying you choose both?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm not gonna just go marrying some rich dude, but at the same time, I don't want to marry some super broke, poor, living in their mom's basement dude. But so anyway, speaking of love, that's a great transition into my number 9, which was fam versus friend. So personally, I would probably pick fam. What would you pick?
So I also remember this Splatfest, and I felt kind of bad, but I went with friends on it. I felt kind of, but you know what? Your friends become your family.
Your
So
family or
really,
your friends for life?
yeah, but your friends are your family that you choose, essentially.
But
However,
your friends are but your family are your friends you don't choose. And she's gone. So, with that, folks, we're gonna talk about how Maddie's
what?
and she's
Okay, everything froze. I don't know what happened.
you left the chat.
This is like, this happens every time. I don't know. I literally don't know why.
Who knows?
Sorry. Anyway, um, but what I was saying is I actually think family, I think there's a loophole in that you could say family because your friends are your family. So you get your family and you get your friends because your friends are your family.
Yeah. Number 8. What is your number 8? Splatoon Splatfest.
Mine. See, I'm thinking of where this came. Is this another Japan one?
I mean, like I
Mine
said
is
earlier, Japan got all the
my.
cool ones.
Wait, what?
Japan got a lot of the cool ones for Splatfest.
Oh,
Granted,
yeah.
there were some American ones that I thought were pretty cool.
Actually, this is an American one. Fancy party versus costume party.
I saw that one, and it was a Mitomo promo. I just rhymed. But, which
Wait, was
Mitomo
it?
isn't supported anymore. It was, when I was researching, I saw that it was a Mitomo promo.
Oh. Yeah, because that would have, that would have come out around the time of Splatoon 1. That's crazy. Well,
Yep.
anyway, for me, I am 100% costume party. I love dressing up.
Well, so it's a costume party, but you do like a fancy costume. You
Like,
see, there's kind of a
sure.
loophole to that. Like, what if it's a costume party, but you want to dress up as Princess Zelda or Princess Daisy?
Well, then you can.
And you be fancy that way at a costume
Fancy
party.
parties. Here's the thing. Fancy parties are just generally uncomfortable. What you're wearing. Us girls have to wear high heels and stuff. And
Corsets.
that's not comfortable. And
I mean, I've never personally worn a corset.
that we're a few hundred years late to that. And you have to just worry about etiquette the whole time. But a costume party, you can dress up as whoever you want and just be crazy.
Yeah, you can be a Goomba.
And it can be chill. Why? A what? A Goomba?
You can be Kirby.
Okay. You can be whoever you want. Unless the costume party has a
Bowser.
theme.
It's a Legend
That
of
would
Zelda
actually be
theme.
cool.
Come as Bowser.
I am the better Ganon.
Uh, sure. That's not true, but
So you found a loophole. Either way, costume party works because you can
that's
be
true, yeah.
fancy at a costume party. So, what is your number 8?
But my number 8 is Trick versus Treat, which so I had Splatoon 2, but I didn't have a Nintendo Online account. Before like the Chaos versus Order. No, I had Nintendo Online. I just hadn't been able to get Splatoon 2 yet until like after Chaos versus Order had happened, which was kind of sad. Which I'm gonna talk about that more later because it's higher up on my list. But Trick versus Treat, when they were doing somewhat of the Splatoon 2 reboot sort of thing, where they did like the 3 Splatfests after the initial final Splatfest with COVID to kind of try to revive Splatoon 2. But I did end up playing Trick versus Treat. I actually played it with you, I remember, because that was one time we stayed up really late. Instead of going trick-or-treating like normal people, we decided to stay up late playing Splatoon.
Wait, what's that? That was on Halloween. I remember that.
2020, which we had been planning for a costume party for months, and then it rained the day of the costume party. I was gonna be a Pokemon trainer, and Maddie was gonna be Charmander, and we were going to destroy the contest.
Well,
and then,
okay,
of course,
you have to
they got a
understand.
hurricane.
Yeah, I was about to say, this wasn't just, oh, it rained. Oh, man, no. No.
We have been planning for months. Months.
Where we live,
I
we
had
get
spent
real
money
hurricanes.
on true Pokemon Center merch for this Pokemon trainer costume. And then
Okay,
a
but to
hurricane
be fair,
decided to come and ruin it.
to be fair though, wasn't it like, was it a little bit before that when we went to the corn maze in our costumes?
Yeah, that was like 2 days before it. It was, I think it was the next night after that the hurricane like hit.
Yeah. So at least it was so hot and I was dying in my onesie in my Charmander at that corn maze. It was, oh my goodness.
And then I had a ball cap and a tank top and shorts, which was very, very nice on that day. not being so. Granted, wearing jean shorts may have been the best idea. Maybe workout shorts would have been better, but it's in the past. But yeah, we had to play playing Trick versus Treat.
I don't even remember what team we were.
I think we were Treat.
That sounds about right. I would do Treat.
But so anyways, yes, I would be. We were Team Treat, I believe. But I played it the second time they had the Trick versus Treat Splatfest, not the initial time. But so anyways, what is your number 7 Splatfest, Maddie?
Mine is a European one. It is World Tour versus Space Adventure. So,
Oh,
would you
I saw that one.
is it in Splatoon 2 as well? I forget.
No, I was
No, okay.
researching Splatoon 1s as well. Splatoon 1 ones as
Okay.
well, so I could give input.
Yeah. So, basically, would you rather travel the world or travel space?
Is that even a question? The world.
I expected you to say space.
Space would be awesome, but at the same time, it's just a black empty void. With highly low chances of... I mean, I guess there are high chances there's other planets like Earth. I'm content with Earth. I would rather be able to travel the world, see all the sights.
I agree. And
Expensive airlines.
Well, I think space is really cool and fascinating. But here's the thing. I would kind of be terrified of going to space. Like the thought just kind of freaks me out. Now, if you told me tomorrow you can fly to space with NASA, will you do it? Then I'm not going to say no. You got to do it if you get the opportunity. If you're an astronaut,
Even
that's
if
amazing.
it might blow up.
Yeah, that's probably scarred a lot of people. But I am also content with traveling the world. So,
see penguins, see African penguins, see South American penguins, see Australian penguins, see
manta rays.
Yeah,
See manta rays because
I've seen manta rays.
I've seen penguins.
Well, I've seen manta rays in their wild habitat, like right next to me. Yeah. I've seen Big Man in person. It was in the Gulf, actually, in the Gulf of Mexico. One time I was surfing, and I was like, what are these huge black clouds under us? And then I come back in, and my dad's like, oh yeah, those were manta rays. And I'm like, what? Because they were huge.
That's cool.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I've seen Big Man.
That's crazy.
How many people can say they've seen Big Man in his wild habitat?
I've only seen Big Mans in captivity. So that's the weirdest sentence out of context I think I've ever said.
I've seen Big Man in person. Oh man. Just walk up to your non-Splatoon 3.
I've seen Big Mans in captivity.
I've seen... Oh my gosh, that sounds so messed up. But, so did you ever... You said you're number 7. World versus...
I think it's labeled number 11 on my list, but yes.
So my number 7 is Squid versus Octopus. Which actually, there was a Squid versus Octopus Splatoon 1 Splatfest in Japan.
Yep.
Which was like, I'm not sure if you were gonna bring that up later. But
I'm not.
Squid Meat versus Octopus Meat. So anyway, Squid versus Octopus. I'm Team Octopus. How about you? Are you Team Squid or Team Octopus?
So it depends on if we're talking about the real life animal or if we're talking about like in Splatoon.
Okay. It was more Octoling versus Inkling, because it was Pearl was Squid, even though I'm pretty sure she's a cuttlefish. and Marina was octopus, because she's an
Okay.
octopus.
Well, I like squids more, but I like real life octopi more than real life squids. So, but for Splatoon, I would say squid.
Mm. Yeah, I like
So,
squids in real life more. They're delicious.
calamari.
Calamari incantation, which I figured this out like a month ago. Callie Marie. Callie Marie. Calamari.
Way. I
Did
did
you
not
just
know
bring up figure?
that.
Yeah, I figured it out like a month ago. I was like, what? So they picked Pearl and Marina, and then Fry and Shiver, which actually Fry is a group of eels and a Shiver is a group of sharks. Which is
Oh.
cool. But so you have, and then Big Manta Ray. Big Manta Ray.
Yeah.
But and then Pearl and Marina, I was like, oh, it's sea themed. But then I was like, Callie and Marie, it's so random. And then I was like, wait, calamari. What? What?
That's
But
wow. They outsmart us with these names.
they really do. But
It's like that in
so,
Pokemon like all the time with everything. It's
yeah.
like crazy.
So number 6. What is your number 6 Splatoon 1 Splatfest?
Mine is from North America. It is roller coasters versus water slides.
Oh, that's
So,
a hard one for me.
I know. It's hard for me too, but I've got to go with roller coaster
I do
because
too.
water slides are really fun, especially when it's the summer and it's super hot and then the rides with like in the tubes and stuff, it's really fun.
Yeah.
But roller coasters are just more exciting. I mean, the rides, the drops, it's just more
Yeah,
intense and
100%
stuff.
agree.
So, when I was younger, I liked water slides more because like bigger roller coasters would kind of like freak me out more. But now I like roller coasters more than water slides because I like the bigger the drop, the better.
Yeah.
Although I will say the water slides that you're in the vault and then the floor drops under you. Those are pretty intense. Those are really fun. I know
No way. No way.
you don't like those.
Well, I walked up like 800 steps up to a Vault 1. It was mainly the person operating it that freaked me out. I knew it was going to happen. But then he was like, "Ooh, it's only your doom." And like quoting bad, like villainous movie lines. Like, yeah, no. And then you were there and you were like, "Are you sure you want to walk down 800 steps?" And I'm like, I can't do this. So I ended up walking down 800 steps. I got all my steps in that day.
Yeah,
But
good
I ended up walking
exercise.
down because I was so terrified. Um,
Yeah,
but
those are
yeah,
pretty scary, honestly. So anyway, I'd have to say roller coaster. You also are roller
yeah, I
coaster.
have to say roller coaster too. Um, so my number 6 for Splatoon 2 is pancake versus waffle. A hard one to pick. Sometimes I'm in the mood for pancakes. Sometimes I'm in the mood for waffles. Sometimes I'm in the mood for crepes. But I'd have to go with pancake. Just because I feel like you can
So
do more with a pancake. Also, well, I do this with both waffles and pancakes, more so waffles than pancakes. But I will eat pancakes by hand. I just eat them with my hands. Just plain. Just eat them with my hands.
shove them in.
Well,
Oh,
not shove them in, but I like eat them almost like
you enjoy them.
well, kind Well, I feel like when you eat them with a fork and knife, you more savor them. But I like to eat them almost like a cookie, like just slowly bite into them.
But they're too bland without syrup, in my opinion. They're,
The pancakes we make have a good amount of flavor in them without, like, we put some cinnamon in them, and we put some vanilla in them, and even plain, we also make they get, like, a nice crisp on the edge, and on the outside, and it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Makes me want pancakes. I haven't had pancakes in a while. But yeah, well, I feel the same way. Like, I feel like it depends on what I'm in the mood for. And I feel like my opinion on this, like, changes a lot, which is different than a lot of people, I feel like, because a lot of people are just either hardcore pancake or hardcore waffle. And I'm like, I don't know, I like both and stuff waffle people are like, it holds the sauce perfect. But I'm like, if you put sauce in all of those pockets, like, it's gonna get soggy like so fast. Like,
that's the one problem. And then it only goes in the pocket in the center. You can't, like, put it in the middle and then it spreads out.
Yeah. So, overall, I'm kind of feeling pancake, and I think the flavor of pancakes, but I like the crispiness of waffles. I don't so in the texture.
Tend to be too dry sometimes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
5.
I like both.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, number 5. Because we probably should.
We did. Yeah. I honestly thought this would be a shorter episode. And here we are.
Oh, man.
Okay.
We're never gonna have under an hour episodes again.
Okay, I feel like we did a topic similar to this, but past versus future.
Oh, I've seen that one.
Past versus future.
There was also we haven't discussed it. There was also a retro versus modern one they did in Splatoon 2, I believe.
Oh, is that on your honorable mentions or something?
It's not on my honorable mentions. I just remember when I was, like, researching it, I saw it.
Oh. So, past versus... So, yeah. Sort of similar idea, but retro versus modern, I feel like, is more like an aesthetic you go for today, while I see past versus future as, would you literally prefer if you could travel to the past or the future?
Right.
So for me, I think I would say future, because while it would be really interesting to go to the past, I can read about the past, but the future, I am kind of obsessed with stories about a post-apocalyptic world in the future and whatever down the line craziness in the world. Or just any story that takes place like 100 years or more in the future. Just that just intrigues me anyway. So, and I guess I would like to go to the future just to see how things change. But then I feel like the thing about going to there's two different things. I feel like going to the future would cause anxiety, because if things are going downhill, like, also, how do you know how far to choose to go in the future? But if you do, what if there's war and then you're like, oh no, war's coming, but it's like, well, it's not in my lifetime, but it's in my grandchildren's lifetime, or the world's literally ending. or the flip side is, what if the future is just so much more advanced and incredible than now? because we're always like, we are living in an amazing like technology era, but every era thinks that they're at the modern height of humanity because we don't know anything else. So if we
Yeah.
went to if I went to the future and it's amazing, then I come back here, then I'm like depressed because you know, you don't have what they have, and then you could alter the future because you're like, well, I learned about this thing, whatever. So that was an interesting tangent of mine.
Yeah, I would probably be team past. Well, no future, because it's easier to die in the past. Especially as a woman.
Well, okay, what if there's like a nuclear war? That would be way easier to die in than, I don't know.
All the
There's a
way
lot of
into the
ways to.
future to when Splatoon happens.
You'll be the human in the story that you were talking about.
I mean, I've
It
already
the
written a
DLC.
story about that, so I have a fan fiction I've been making about being the only human left in Splatoon, so.
Oh, that's cool. You'll have
Couple
to.
fanfics I've thought about sharing on Discord or
You
YouTube
should.
even.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Author Beth is here today.
Yes. If I had my glasses, I'd put them on.
I'm the one
But,
wearing glasses, but you know.
So my number 5 was Kid vs. Grown Up, which was in Europe for Splatoon 2. Part of the reason I picked this was because it used Judd and Little Judd for the pictures. But I would be
Yeah.
I think I'd be Team Grown Up. Well, no, Team Kid, because then you don't have to forge for yourself. And you get to rely on grown-ups. But at the same time, there's this much freedom. So maybe like 16 or 17 kid. 16, 17-year-old kid.
Really? There's a lot of stressful pressure to being a teenager. And
Kind of.
everything happening to you makes it worse. But I mean, yes, but at the same time, being a teenager, you don't have to live on your own, but you are more mature.
Yeah.
But
You're
for
given more
me,
freedom.
freedom, but I would say, I would do Team Kid, but I would go back to being like 10. I think 10 is like the peak age of childhood, in my opinion. Well, I mean, it varies per person, but I
Yeah.
just feel like, I don't know. It's like when you're still a kid and like everything is like fun and exciting to you, and school isn't as hard and stressful,
Yeah.
and you just, it's an innocent world that you just go outside and play with your friends, or play inside online video games with your friends. I don't know.
Yeah.
All 10-year-olds play now is Fortnite, so that doesn't sound as great
I mean,
as
Fortnite
when I
kind
was
of went
10.
downhill. But yeah, I feel like it lost a lot of popularity and then it started gaining popularity back. But so number 4s. What's your number 4 for Splatoon 1?
So Pokemon Red versus Blue. Everywhere except Japan, it was green, because that's Pokemon Green was Japan. So I'm a huge Pokemon fan, so this had to be on the list somewhere. And for me, I am Team Pokemon Red. I love Charmander. I love Charizard. I also love Squirtle, and Squirtle's arguably the better starter in the game to use, especially earlier on, but Charizard is too cool. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Was this because I didn't do research, but I'm guessing they did this because it was Pokemon's 20th anniversary in 2016, I think. Didn't we
That makes
just we
sense,
just had the
yeah, because it was the
25th?
25th and 2021, so
Last year.
that would be 20th.
Yeah, so that's what I'm guessing. That's why, so that's cool. Are you team Pokemon Red or Blue or Green?
Yellow. I'm kidding. Blue. I gotta
Really?
stick with yeah. Squirtle. Squirtle's the best of the three. He turns into a literal tank.
After this episode, I think people are gonna wonder if we're actually IRL friends because I'm learning so many things I didn't know.
Well, I am the secretive type, so.
That sounds so weird. I have many secrets.
I mean, I do, so.
No one knows that I think Squirtle's the best.
I mean, water types are the best, so.
Yeah, I forgot that your
Okay,
obsession
fire
with
type.
water types.
Well, I do also have an obsession. Oh, okay, here's the problem. I have an obsession with all three main types. I can't make up my mind. But, so, most of the time I usually pick the water type. But, for instance, Scarlet and Violet, I'm picking Sprigatito because it's so cute. And then Litten I picked because it's a fight. Because it's just adorable. But, anyways.
You also picked Score Bunny in Sword and
Yeah,
Shield.
well, it's because it was the easiest to start with.
Oh. You actually like Sobble.
I like James Pond.
So well, moving on. I don't know how to transition.
My number 4 for Splatoon 2 is Hero versus Villain, which was I'm pretty sure it was a promotion for Smash Bros. Ultimate. Because it was the Smash Bros. Heroes versus the Smash Bros. Villains. I'm Team Villain.
Wow.
Well, it's just...
How am I not surprised?
Well, Nintendo has some of the coolest villains, in my opinion.
She basically...
Ganondorf. You have... Ganondorf. You have Waluigi. You have,
Well, we clarified that Waluigi wasn't a villain.
He's an anti-hero.
I'm so confused. I don't know.
I feel like he's an anti-hero. He's kind of in the middle.
I was literally on the Waluigi podcast, so I feel like I should know this. I've always called Waluigi a frenemy to Mario. It's like sometimes he's good, but sometimes he's not really evil, but not friendly. I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway. Moving on. Well, first, would you be Team Hero or Team Villain?
I have to be a hero. I'm not like you. I don't possess many secrets.
Wow, is that why I'm a villain? Because I'm secretive? Have my secret
Okay,
layer.
would that be different if, say, okay, we're both My Hero Academia fans. Would you be a hero or villain in that?
How about, well, I actually do have a fan fiction for my Hero where it's there's a couple I have done where it's like a secret identity where they have their normal person identity, but they're a hero and a villain also.
Oh.
So they have to balance being a hero as well as being a villain. But I have like a whole
Counterintuitive.
Well, the thing is though the thing I have done with it though is that what happens is the character becomes a villain for the freedom aspect of it and that they can do whatever they want to do. But then they like go to a hero school or whatever and then they're like, "Oh, there's more to being a hero." And being a hero is good. But the reason they don't want to they don't want to just stop being a villain altogether is because it might draw too much attention to them if they just disappeared as a villain. Yeah, I'll have
Interesting.
Beth in the house today. But,
that's cool though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're number 3. We're getting in the top 3.
Okay, my number 3 was was it a Europe one? I don't know. Or was it not even? I don't know. Okay. Early Bird versus Night Owl.
That was an American one.
Oh, yes. I see that now.
I actually had that one. So, are you Team Night
On your
Owl
list?
or are you Team Early Bird? I had that on my special mentions in case you didn't mention it.
Oh. 100% Night Owl.
100% Night Owl too. I'm staying up. It's like 11:15 at night here. Night Owl all the way.
Wasn't it like 1 a.m. your time when the Jackbox thing finished?
I stayed up until 1 this morning. So,
yeah.
I probably won't end up going to bed today either.
I almost didn't fall asleep until almost 1 my time. 2, but I think you're the only person I know that I've stayed up past like 4 a.m. with.
Oh, that was fun.
So, and so yeah, nighttime is great. It's peaceful and quiet. And for some reason, I have more energy at night than I do during the day, and I really don't understand how that works. I've read that people's circadian rhythms are different, and the way that they're wired is different, so that's just how it is for some people. Like myself. And sometimes I can transition to being an early bird when I have to, but I would much prefer to stay up late. So, yeah.
So, my number 3 was a Japan exclusive Splatoon 2. This is where I'm like, Japan gets all the cool ones. Fries versus McNuggets. This was an actual Splatfest in Japan.
Yes, they love McDonald's over there.
Like McNugget. Well, it's because it's so much better over there.
That's true.
And I'm like, so American, I would probably say it's fries because you don't know what's in the McNuggets here. But overseas, I'm like, it would probably be McNuggets if the McNuggets really are that good overseas.
So, I've been to Japan, but I was too young to remember anything. So, but apparently I've had McDonald's in Japan. And apparently it is a lot better. And they have a lot of other interesting things on their menu. But I'm still gotta go with fries, because I actually really like McDonald's fries because they're really salty, and they're kind of like not, how do you say this? Like, they're not filled in all the way. Like, they're like, they bend, like they're very like
Air.
thin. Yeah, they have air. Which is the best kind of fry, in my opinion. Like the ones that are, I mean, I I don't know. I guess I for the most part like any fry, but I don't know. I mean, when I was a kid, I had no problem with McNuggets, but then I adapted to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And, and I can't go. Well, if you douse anything in enough sauce, it's okay, I guess. So.
Which I can confirm that overseas, McDonald's tends to be better because I've had German McDonald's. It is definitely superior. Even like Hawaiian McDonald's is better than like the state. I feel like, but
Interesting. Yeah.
well, because you can get Dole pineapples as a side, and
Yeah.
at least on Oahu, which is where I've been, because the Dole plantation's there, so you can get Dole pineapples with your
Yeah.
McDonald's. So
Yeah.
number 2, what's your number 2?
Mine was from Japan, and I think it's a translating thing, but I just think it sounds hilarious. Perfect body versus perfect brain.
Oh, I saw that one. I'm perfect brain. Perfect brain. I mean, I already have the perfect brain. Just need to work on this perfect body. Very, very humble. Very humble.
You're like, I'm like, I've already got both, so I don't.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've already almost got the perfect body, so. I don't need either.
What is this conversation?
I don't know.
So,
what are you?
perfect brain.
Yeah.
I want, and I strive for.
In all honesty, I strive for a perfect brain, and one would be perfect brain.
No smooth brains around here.
No smooth brains around here. Yeah, that's right. So, unless you have anything else.
No.
My number 2 was chaos versus order, which, I need to talk about this. Chaos won, which is why Splatoon 3, the Splatlands are in the state they're in. If Order would have won, Splatoon 3 would have been a completely different game.
So, here's my question. We cannot prove their statistics for the Splatfest. Do you think possibly...
It happened with the first game. It happened with the first Splatoon won the final Splatfest in that. It happened with that as well. Something happened in Splatoon 2 that was a direct effect. And the story mode in Splatoon 2 would have been different if the outcome of the final Splatfest.
But my question is, are they making us feel like they're in control, but really not? Because, I mean, think about game development. They didn't start working on the story till after that Splatfest happened?
2 different ideas. They were having 2 different ideas that they were going off of. And then the Splatfest happened, and then they scrapped one idea, which was the Order idea in this case.
Order would have been kind of boring, let's be honest. I'm glad Chaos won.
I feel like Order may have been pretty fun because it could have been like Matrix style almost, where it was like uniformity and stuff, and it was like breaking the uniformity and all that.
That's true. That's true.
But number
Uh,
one, what's your number one? Oh, I mean, unless you
well,
have anything else to add to Chaos versus Order.
no, I don't. I was on Team Chaos in
Team
Chaos
Order.
1. I also like Pearl more, so. But
With her
my
big forehead. I mean, you're an example of someone who grew on Pearl, though. I've honestly said this before, I think, but Fry has started to grow on me.
Yeah.
Number
I
one.
don't even look at
Oh.
Fry, but I chose Fry's team, so. But I never really, honestly, Pearl's forehead never really stood out to me compared to Fry.
Because you have. I'm kidding. You...
Also, Fry just whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. But,
so my number one is very similar because my number one was Callie versus Marie.
Which is why Ellie was brainwashed in Splatoon 2 story mode, was because she lost the Splatfest and became depressed. Because nobody loved her.
That's kind of sad.
And I do believe that the Splatoon 2 story mode would have been different if Callie would have won. And she should have won because she is the superior of the duo.
You like Callie more?
I said that at the beginning of the episode.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, I like Callie more.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I kind of think I like Marie more.
Honestly, I do like both of them, but I like Callie.
Because of your cat.
The only reason why I like her hairstyle more. Which, Marina's hair physics confuse me half the time.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Whatever.
Anything else you have to add about Callie versus Marie?
Not really.
Oh, man. We're going on 2 hours.
No way!
Yes! It's almost been, in 2 minutes it will have been 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk really, really, really fast now.
Okay, so, number one, Super Mushroom versus Superstar. The only Splatfest I actually really paid attention to, I was Team Superstar because Marina is superior, and Team Superstar is superior because you're invincible and you can take over the world and you can destroy Bowser with a single hit. So, that was our top 10 Splatfests. I don't think Maddie has anything to add, so moving on to future Splatoon 3 Splatfest ideas.
Wait. Hold on. I had some honorable mentions because I wanted to have a conversation, and generally I was just curious your opinions on these, okay?
Yes, go.
So, in Japan, this is interesting, rice versus bread.
Rice all the way.
I agree, because rice just has more good dishes than bread does. So, and then, do you want me to go through mine and then you through yours, or do you?
I only have 2.
You only have 2. Okay,
the other 2 you covered.
Oh, okay.
Like, I only have Splatoon 1 honorable mentions.
Okay, well, I had Splatoon 1 honorable mentions. I think everything in Splatoon 2, you basically covered except cake versus ice cream. Are you cake or ice cream?
Ice cream all the way because cake is not good.
Wow. Okay.
I
I'm also
I
ice
have a
cream, but I
love-hate
like cake.
relationship with cake.
And then mayo versus ketchup is just fun to argue with people about.
Ketchup all the way.
Agreed. Okay. So, and then I'll just salsa versus guac.
Guac. Or
Retro
guac.
versus modern. Guac.
I'm kidding.
Wait,
You
you're
didn't-
guac?
I said I'm Glock.
Oh. Okay.
I am Glock. Guacamole. Delicious.
I prefer
We're now
salsa.
at 2 hours, by the way.
I actually don't like guac. I like salsa more because I know I'm weird.
But
Pulp versus no pulp.
no pulp.
Agreed. Okay.
Cats versus dogs.
Dogs.
Cats. Autobots versus Decepticons. Or are you not a Transformer fan?
I'm not I'm not. I'm like, I don't care. Yeah.
Are you an Autobot
Yes,
or a Decepticon?
my answer is yes.
Okay, I'm an Autobot.
Okay. Pro pineapple versus anti pineapple
Pro
on
pineapple.
pizza.
Pro pineapple. That's not even a
Anti.
question. Pineapple
Is that even a question?
and pizza
Anti.
are a match made in heaven.
Whatever you say. Would you
Fork
rather be
versus
eating?
spoon.
Fork, because forks are just better. Spork, actually, spork.
Yes, spork.
I don't actually like sporks. They're kind of inefficient at both. A little bit. I don't know. And they're kind of weird.
Versus comedy.
Comedy.
Hello Kitty
Usually.
versus My Melody.
My Melody. I think I would. Well, no. Hello Kitty. But I like Cinnamoroll more. Eating versus sleeping.
Eating.
Mountain
versus pop.
Wait, sorry. Rock
versus pop.
Oh, it's in music. Oh, pop.
Dexterity versus endurance.
Dexterity? You're not giving your opinions on these, though. I want to know your side so we can argue.
What? Oh.
So we can debate.
I'm endurance.
Okay.
Pop, rock for my, and then Hello Kitty for the other one.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so mountain food versus seafood.
Well, that's hard. That's actually really hard.
I know, because on one hand, there's cows which have steak, and then on the other hand, there's seafood, which is amazing.
I have to say mountain food because I love steak and bison. Cows.
I kind of have to say seafood. Okay.
Also,
and then
seafood includes fruit. You can't have fruit if you pick seafood. You can't have any fruit or vegetables if you pick seafood.
Well,
the only vegetable you get is seaweed.
Well, I'm perfectly fine not having fruits and vegetables in my diet.
What? When you have high levels of mercury and low levels of anything else, come talk to me.
I'll take vitamin pills for that. I'll take vitamin gummies.
You can't take vitamin gummies. That's not seafood.
Oh yeah.
So how do we
Well,
get into our Splatoon 3 future Splatfest ideas? First,
I had
we're
one.
gonna
I had
talk
one
about.
more. I had
Oh,
one more.
we
I
need
had
to
one
get
more.
through this!
I'm sorry, but it's from Japan, and this one was just so weird to me that I had to mention it. Grasshopper versus ant. Who was choosing
Oh, weird!
ant?
It's from a fable, you know. The
I don't know.
grasshopper almost dies from winter because he plays his fiddle all day, and the ant works hard
Oh,
and
that
saves up,
explains
and
more.
then lets the grasshopper live in his house, so the grasshopper doesn't die because it played
Oh,
all year long. And then the grasshopper learns from his mistakes, and then he doesn't play his fiddle all day the next year.
oh.
I'm Team Ant.
I'm uncultured. Good to know.
Very. So now we're doing future Splatoon 3 Splatfests, I think.
Okay.
We got 2 from Presto the Magnificent. Band versus orchestra versus choir. Orchestra all the way for me. And then also another one from Presto the Magnificent is Mario versus Zelda versus Pokemon, which I'm Zelda all the way. So for those two, which team would you be?
Okay. I would be orchestra. And then wait, you didn't say solo somethings yet.
I didn't. I would, well, because Presto gave
You
2,
were
so I was saying both of Prestos.
okay, and then I would be Pokemon. And then
And I would destroy you. Um, Anyone
solo
who picks
something.
Mario, I'm gonna have a talk with. But, so you can say solo something.
What's wrong with Mario?
Everything.
Solo somethings is jam versus jelly versus marmalade.
What about preserves? That's the one thing I'm kind of like, is there's no preserves. If I would have to be team preserves though, even though it's missing. But since it's
The fourth
I'm
team.
team jam. Well, because preserves is so much better than any of those, because you actually have fruit chunks.
Debatable, but I also say jam, I think.
So, next is our personal ideas, which, if it's okay with you, I'll say all of mine and then you can say all of yours, since you
Are you
started.
also gonna say who would be with, like,
Yeah.
what character, or okay, because
what
I didn't really think about
object?
this. Okay.
Oh, I like full, but, so first I have Triforce, Wisdom versus Courage versus Power. Wisdom would be Shiver, Courage would be Fry, and Power would be Big Man. Next is Pickle versus Cucumber versus Zucchini. Pickle would be Fry, Cucumber would be Shiver, and Zucchini would be Big Man. Next is Ketchup versus Mayonnaise versus Mustard. Shiver would be Ketchup, Mayonnaise would be Fry, and Mustard would be Big Man. Next would be how you like your eggs done. Scrambled versus fried versus boiled. Scrambled would be Big Man, fried would be Fry, and boiled would be Shiver. Next is Pokemon related. Sapphire versus Ruby versus Emerald. Sapphire would be Shiver, Ruby would be Fry, and Emerald would be Big Man. Next is Sharks versus Eels versus Rays. Shiver would be Sharks, Fry would be Eels, and Big Man would be Rays. Next is White Chocolate versus Milk Chocolate versus Dark Chocolate. White Chocolate would be Fry, Milk Chocolate would be Big Man, and Dark Chocolate would be Shiver. Next is S'mores, Chocolate versus Marshmallow versus Graham Cracker. Chocolate would be Shiver, Marshmallow would be Fry, and Graham Cracker would be Big Man. And then the last one I had was bacon versus eggs versus sausage. Big man would be bacon, eggs would be fry, and sausage would be shiver. And that is the 9 Splatfest ideas.
Wow. So what team would you be for those?
Pow, zucchini, ketchup, boiled for eggs, sapphire, sharks, dark chocolate, graham cracker, and bacon.
Graham cracker
Yeah.
over chocolate?
Graham
Over
cracker's the best
chocolate?
part. Graham cracker's the best part.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So, how
Well,
about you?
mine, I will just. So I don't overly know for mine who would be who based on their character personality. So I'm just gonna say in the order to make things less confusing. I'm just gonna say in the order of mine, the character will be Shiver Fry Big Man.
Okay.
So
Good deal.
first is breakfast versus lunch versus dinner. I would be dinner. Then
Breakfast.
then coffee versus tea versus juice.
I feel it
I
should
would
be hot chocolate for that instead of juice.
I was thinking about it through the lens of like
It's technically
stuff
herbal
you drink
tea.
in the morning, but at the same time, hot chocolate could make more sense.
Well, you know coffee's just herbal tea, right?
Well, okay, but people separate them. So, whatever.
I know.
I would be tea because for the most part I prefer teas over I don't like coffee unless it's like a mocha or something like that. So
Yeah.
anyway, then the next thing is books versus movies versus video games. This one would be
Team book.
challenging. Really?
Actually, no, team video game. I mean, we do have this podcast.
We are a book podcast from now on, so
I mean, we could start a book podcast.
it'd be like a book club, but we talk to the internet. That would be kind of cool.
It'd be fun.
I don't.
Especially, I mean, if I feel like that would, be fun. Like read a book
Okay.
over the course, and then we break through it. Yeah.
I mean, I'd also thought about. I'd also thought about what if I did an anime podcast, but
That'd be fun too.
I don't like the rate that I like it. How long it takes me to finish animes? Like I can't. Like I'm not fast enough. Like so it'd be hard to keep up.
Well, you could even just do 5 episodes, or even 3 episodes for every podcast episode.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, I would be video games. And then next is instruments. So wind versus stringed versus percussion. I would be percussion. What?
Brass players.
Wait, you froze. What players?
What about our brass? What about the brass?
Oh. Well,
I'd rather it be wind versus string versus brass. No one cares about percussion.
well, I do because
I mean, I do
play
as well.
piano. So, you do
Piano's
too.
its own thing. Piano's its own thing. It's like
No, I looked it up. It's in. No, I looked it up.
It's also a string instrument.
Actually, it's officially a percussion.
It's officially a string instrument too. You play strings.
There's a specific reason why it's not. I actually just heard this recently. I'd have to look it up. But look it up. I am 90% sure there is a specific reason with the way the piano is made that it is not a stringed instrument, even though it's strings and it's percussion. But anyway, next is cat versus dog versus fish for pets. I would be dog. I'm guessing you're still team cat.
Still team cat.
And then for genres, comedy versus action versus fantasy.
Action.
For me, it depends. I like action with comedy in it. So I don't know. I like both equally. And then fantasy, it just depends. So with that is all I had for ideas.
So next is our closing remarks, our outro. To wrap it all up with a bow, Splatoon 3, Callie is the superior squid cuttlefish cousin. Marino's the superior off the hook, and Big Man is the superior deep cut.
Okay. I will pretend to agree.
Small Fry is adorable. Callie Marie turns into calamari. Which is why it's called the calamari incantation. But, how about, Maddie, you give us our closing remark for today.
My closing remark. Long live Big Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Woo. I've seen Big Man in person. And with that is today's episode. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Gamer Girl Podcast. I have been your host, Beth, with my fabulous co-host, Maddie. See you all next time. Bye.